Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in whichever part of the world that you are, and welcome to Learnamytes, where learning is for all and all that we do is for learning. Experts believe that 77% of the population across the globe have some sort of anxiety or fear of public speaking called glossophobia. Well, in today's modern world with business complexities and the kind of competition that one faces, I believe that each one of us watching this video who is in service or who is in business needs to give presentations, needs to deliver high impact presentations. So how do we go about it was the question which was hovering in my mind, and I thought that why not make use of my almost more than 15 years of experience in training and development in corporate training, and having delivered more than 14,000 hours of training. Can I share some of the things which I have learned over the years, and how do we fine tune, or as we say, how do we sharpen the saw when it comes to public speaking or high impact presentations? So this video is all about that. So please like and share this video in your network as much as you can. Please watch the video till the end and do subscribe the Learnamytes channel. Please press the bell icon so that you get weekly notifications from Learnamytes. Let's begin. Alright, so this video, I'm going to share some of this which I feel are the secrets or the important points to be considered while giving high impact presentation. I'm going to divide this video into two parts. Let's first begin with part A, which is odds of presentation. So I call them as odds. So what are these odds? Well, O stands for objective. Whenever you're delivering a presentation, whether you're delivering your product or your service, or it's some kind of a corporate training, or it is any sort of communication and there is an audience, they need to understand the context, they need to understand the objective of what the presentation is all about. In simple words, one of the most popular terms used in the corporate world is what's in it for me. So they need to understand what is the objective of the presentation, and that needs to be very clear right at the beginning of the presentation. The second letter is D. D stands for your delivery of presentation. Of course, how do we go about delivering the presentation? Maybe we'll talk about this in one of the episodes later. But for the moment, you need to worry about your delivery. Whether it's going to be an online presentation, an offline presentation, or what are going to be the kind of resources that you would need for the presentation. Do you need to carry a PowerPoint slide, a deck of PowerPoint slides, or can you do that with the help of a whiteboard and markers and stuff like that? So that's the delivery part. And of course, the language of delivery, your content and things like that. That becomes part of your delivery. The third is you have to decide how are you going to demonstrate during the presentation. D stands for demonstrate or demonstration. This demonstration can be in the form of by way of giving examples. If you are giving a presentation about a product, like for example, you are giving a presentation, you are in the manufacturing of glass bottles and you want to present those glass bottles, then you can just simply use the product and then explain the specifications or the technical features. So it could be about giving an example, it could be about demonstrating or showing the product, it could also be by sharing an experience, or it could also be by sharing an anecdote, or it could also be by sharing some statistics. Remember the start of this video, I started with a statistics. So there are various ways of demonstrating. So decide how do you want to demonstrate depending on the audience. So audience analysis is extremely important when it comes to deciding how to go about demonstration. So if it is a group of youth, group of kids, your style can be different. If it is for young adults, the style can be different. If it is for experienced professionals, you might want to rely more on experience. I mean, I'm just giving it a thought. So that's about demonstration. And the S stands for summarizing. Isn't it a great idea that towards the end of the presentation, you summarize what the presentation was all about? if you observe the Learnamytes videos, we have tried that at the end of every video, we try to summarize the learnings from the videos, especially the learning class videos. So you can go through the videos again just to get a little glimpse of how do we go about it. So that's about the first part of today's video, which is odds. Let's move to the second part. Second part is easy to remember. All of us have played carom. We know a carom board. So just remember carom B. What does C stand for? Creativity. Today's world, the attention spans have reduced. People are more glued to the television sets, or more than television sets, I would say they're more glued to the mobile sets. The attention spans have reduced. Everything needs to be, people love to watch reels and so on and so forth. So the attention spans have reduced. So it is a great idea to be creative. Now how do you be creative? Maybe we'll talk about this on the Learnamytes channel. But I would say that use all your 5 senses, and that's the easiest way to be creative. So maybe you can start with a drawing, or maybe you can start with some sort of an anecdote, like I said earlier. So something of that sort. So be creative while giving presentation. The second is your attitude as a presenter. You can't be at a 30,000 feet level and communicate with the participants. You have to be one of them. The participants need to feel that you are approachable as a presenter. You're approachable as a trainer, you're approachable as a teacher, so on and so forth. The third R stands for relevant. One of the success stories of Google, Microsoft, Apple, all these companies, why have they been able to be so relevant is because they keep themselves updated. So your presentation has to be relevant. It has to be to the point. It has to be something that is going to solve the problems of your participants. And it could also be some sort of a business presentation where you're talking about some consulting model or things like that, or maybe you're explaining some product. So how is that product going to solve the problem, and how is it relevant in today's time? Number 4, there is some effort that needs to be made before you present. Let's call it as research. You need to research. You need to do some homework before giving a presentation. I'll just give you a simple technique that just go with 5 W's and 1 H. 5 W's and 1 H are questions. You need to ask questions like who, what, where, why, whom, or which. So these are 5 W's, and 1 H is how. So that is something which you can do during your presentation. And yes, of course, the O from carom, the O stands for being original. There's no point copying someone. In the early days of my corporate training career, I was getting trained while working with an organization, a training organization of repute. I was told by one of my master trainers that Girish, develop your unique style, develop your original style, don't copy anyone. So I think that's very, very important. Do not copy anyone, develop your original style. And last but not the least, your presentation has to be meaningful. Towards the end of the presentation, there at least has to be some sort of a takeaway for the audience. It may be learning in case it is a training session. It could be information in case you're promoting your product or it's a business presentation, or it could be a strategy in case you are consulting to a client. So this can have different meanings for different industries. So overall, I just thought to tell you that your presentation has to be meaningful. See, remember I said carom B, carom board. So the letter B stands for backup. Very, very important. I'll tell you something which happened during the pandemic. I was conducting an online session and we were at the peak of something. And suddenly I forgot to charge my dongle that day. So my dongle just conked off, and then there was a pause. I had to shift and I had to find out some other alternatives. So I had to kind of connect with my mobile hotspot, and in that bargain we lost close to about 10 to 15 minutes. Did it really matter the energy of the presentation? Did it really matter the takeaways? Well, maybe yes, maybe not. I'm not sure about it. Possibly my participants were too kind to me, so they said, no, that's okay. But in reality, I think you need to have a backup, especially when we are presenting online, and at the same time whenever we are presenting offline. In the sense, I have had situations while presenting, while one is at the peak, at the climax of a presentation. At that time, suddenly the projector comes off, or suddenly the electricity goes off, and then you're stuck for some time. So I learned a simple technique, or a very simple idea. I mean, it's so simple. What one of my senior colleagues told me is that why don't you take a print, a hard print of that presentation. If you don't want to waste paper, which is obvious, I understand. I think the simplest thing that you can do is I'll show you. Maybe take a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper, just tear it a little bit, or even if you don't want to use it, I think the simplest thing is take a post-it and write down slide-wise what are the important points or what are the key points. I think that works the best in case you feel you don't want to take a printout. If you can take printout, that's even better, it works. Otherwise, what we call in the world of training as palm cards, which can fit into your palms, that also works, which is also known in the media world as cue cards. So I think that is what the B stands for. So just before we close, like I said, let's quickly summarize what are the odds of presentation. So O stands for objective, D for deliver, the other D for demonstrate, and the S would basically stand for summarize. Okay, now let's look at carom board. What does C stand for? C stands for being creative, A for attitude or being approachable, your attitude during the presentation, R for relevant, the next R for research, O for original, and M for meaningful, that's carom, and board, the letter B stands for backup. So that's it for today, folks. Please like and share this video as much as you can in your network. Please let us know in the comment box if you know some other techniques as well. It would be good to educate the Learnamytes population. And how did you find this video? Do you want us to make similar kind of videos on presentation, communication, time management, so on and so forth? There could be a number of topics, so do mention them in the comment box. And please subscribe Learnamytes, and please press the bell icon so that you get weekly notifications. Thank you so much.